Welcome. Come and sit down. What was that you were casting over the audience there? What are you flinging out?
I'm doing this play called Funny Money, and Ray Cooney, who's the boss, at the curtain call, Ray Cooney and, well, all the cast throw out these vouchers for £20 seats that are only £10 if they want to come and see the play.
So everyone's got to come to the West End and see Funny Money, that's what you're saying?
Well, Ray Cooney said if I do throw out the vouchers, he'll give me 10 quid tonight for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hey, you'll be paid. That's something, isn't it?
God,
You'll
I
be
had jet
paid.
black hair in that clip.
What memories does seeing that clip of the Likely Lads bring back to you,
Well,
Rodney?
it's being repeated now on Tuesday nights, and I don't want the repeats to finish. I just love it. Half the time I don't think it's me. You know, I think he did that. I think, oh, he did that scene quite well, or he wasn't awfully good in that bit. But it's very funny when you're young and with jet black hair, isn't it? Really?
Well, it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny then. It may look a bit strange now, but how like?
But we started. It started
Bob
33 years ago. You know, the Likely Lads started 30. I was only 4. In the first few episodes.
Hence the jet black hair. Yes, and no beard. But how like Bob Ferris were you in real life then?
Very.
And was James Bolam very like Terry?
I don't know whether he was. No. But I was great friends with one of the writers, Ian Lafreniere. Yeah. As Ian got to know me more, there was more of me in Bob, really.
What would they be like now, do you think?
Well, that's a good point, because Ian Lafreniere, the writers now live in Hollywood and they're very successful. And Ian took me out to lunch just recently in London when he was over here, and he said it'd be great to do it again with Bob, who was always so steady and with a job, has done really badly. And Terry, who was on the dole and stuff, has done terribly well. And also they'd be awfully good. I have to wear spectacles now to see anything. And do you know what I mean? And things like that.
Is there any chance
My wife's I'm going deaf.
Pardon?
My wife's saying pardon?
Is there any chance that they might bring that back?
Well, I'd like to do it again, but I don't know. I can't speak for all the other people. Yes. You know, but I think it'd be interesting because we're older now. You know, I'm 29 now.
Yes. And, it's been a tough life.
And feeling it. Yeah.
How did you cope with the fame back then?
Love it. I love it.
How did you spend the money?
Well, I think the only sensible thing I ever did was to buy a house in Cornwall, in a little village called Cadgworth. I rang up this morning, spoke to Renee Jane, who lives next door, asked her to watch. So I got a nice house in Cornwall.
What car did you drive?
I've got something. I drove big Bentleys, but I've got something a lot better now, which is I'm a happily married boy, you know, with 4 children. We all live together, and all my children's sort of contemporaries. All their parents are split up. You know? So that's a very rich thing, isn't it?
That's the richest thing of all, I'm sure.
I'm going to cry, I'm sorry.
But tell me about,
oh, God.
before we go back to Funny Money, the farce in the West End, I want to know about what you were up to this last summer.
Trafalgar Square, with Ray Cooney and Sylvia Sims.
Tell me about 3 Men in a Boat.
I did this interview on Pebble Mill at 1, 15 years ago, and I was supposed to talk about... I will tell you about 3 Men. But I was supposed to talk about this play I was in, and I never mentioned the title of where I was, and in this car after this 15-year-old, this Pebble Mill I did 15 years ago, this guy wouldn't speak to me in the car going to this theatre all the way down the M1 because I hadn't mentioned the play or anything. So,
but you've mentioned it now.
Have I?
Yes.
Funny Money.
Yes, you have. Yeah, you certainly have.
In London at the Playhouse.
And I know it was a very quick turnaround for you. What's it like being the new boy in a production like that?
Well, I took over from Charlie Drake on Monday night, so I've done it twice now. But I was in a Christmas show till Saturday night. I finished the Christmas show Saturday night. The Christmas show's like twice a day. You know about that. So I was out of work on Sunday. You know, that was tough.
24 hours.
That was tough. I was resting on Sunday. So I started Monday night. I was very scared. Do you know, the Ray Cooney and Sylvia Sims and Henry McGee and Linda Barron, I'm getting the names out here. I mean, they were very sweet to me and very nice to me, but it was very scary to just sort of go on.
Yes.
With not a lot of rehearsal. I don't need rehearsal, do I?
No, you don't. You just go on there and you go through
3 Men in a Boat.
I'll
tell you about 3 Men in a Boat then.
That was last summer. That was last summer.
I've had a good year.
K. Jerome.
I've had a good year. Likely Lads is being repeated. Thank you very much, Michael Jackson, the controller of BBC 2.
But what we must say that it was just you, wasn't it? You did 3 Men in a Boat.
I did 3 Men in a Boat for 3.5 months.
Show.
And I did it for 3.5 months all over England. I started in Newcastle and went to Falmouth. I did it in York and went to Yeovil. And I toured this boat. And I adapted Jerome K. Jerome's book, 3 Men in a Boat, which is a very funny book. It was written in 1889, but it's not like old-fashioned speak. And Bill Kenwright, who is perhaps the biggest producer in England now, said that he'd like me to do it for him at Leatherhead. And I did it for him at Leatherhead in August, at the end of my tour. And Bill says that he might... no, Bill said he will produce it this year. So it'll come from my tour to a very professional, big deal thing.
After Funny Money. So we look forward to that. And the repeats of Rodney on BBC Two in The Likely Lads. We've found out now what's happened to Rodney Bews. Thank you so much for coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
My next guest is about